As the title suggests, this chapter may be offensive to those watching, listening, or reading silently. My apologies in advance. Previously on Akugim WR, Godzilla was confronted by Mikoto Misaka on top of a controlled sand dreadnought. After unstalling, the two engaged in a brawl throughout the city of Shinagawa. Both gave every strength to win, but ultimately, it was Godzilla who came out the victor. Misaka's death, however, was prevented by a fully healed Kuroko Shirai here to save her head. The two soon after returned their lives. But why did Shirai appear in Tokyo in the first place? The story continues in Shirai's point of view of what was going on in Academy City. The news of Godzilla heading for Academy City reaches the residents. Many locations are already determined in terms of shelter and areas outside of the city. Within Heaven Canceler's hospital, 25% of the staff are paying attention to what is going on the live news. The others, with the help of volunteers, are having the task of transporting patients to the third level in School District 22. Outside, the buses and ambulances are on standby. Inside of her hospital room, Kuroko Shirai is one of those patients who is waiting to be carried away. Sitting up in her bed, she stares up at the TV in the corner, watching the events that are unfolding in front of her. Looks like he is heading this way. She lets out a sigh and brushes her hair back. Her eyes shifts to the small tape recorder. Now. She reaches her arm out and grabs it. She looks at the date that it was last recorded, which was almost 3 days ago. What the hell were you two talking about, huh? She lets out a sigh, stares up at the ceiling, and sets the recorder down. Even with the 3 days of me learning English, it's not enough. If I wasn't f***ing injured right now, I would... Huh? She hits her leg when she throws a fit, causing herself to stop. Wait a minute. She lightly taps her leg. To test it again, she slaps her thigh. I can feel my leg. Does that mean... She lifts the blankets and lifts her gown. Her eyes gazes upon the pelvis still wrapped in medical tape. She reaches down and taps the injured area with her finger. Nothing happens. She places all 5 fingers on it, slowly applying pressure. Nothing happens. She places her entire hand on the pelvis and squeezes it. Nothing happens. No way. It's actually healed? She grabs the tape and rips it off piece by piece. With the tape fully removed, she gazes at the injured pelvis. Her eyes widens. The pelvis is fully healed. In its place is a large, visible scar. Holy sh**. She cannot believe it. She thinks back to the night of January 3rd when Kaori Kizaki showed her the scars on her back just from one healing syringe from Prime Minister McIntyre. But can I actually... Her head turns to the side of the bed. She moves her right leg to the edge, then moves the left leg. Okay, I can move it, and I'm not feeling anything. Now for the real test. Her eyes stars to the floor. Her fists clenches. She takes in a deep breath and closes her eyes. She jumps out of the bed and her feet plants on the floor. She straightens her back out and opens her eyes. She stares at her feet. Okay, so far so good. She jumps up. Nothing happens. A thought comes to her mind. I really don't want to attempt fate, but I hope you don't mind if I steal this from you, sissy. She hops on her right foot, spins 180 degrees, and kicks her leg up. Shock takes over her emotions. Oh my... It actually worked! It actually worked! She places her left foot down, but immediately comes down to her knees. She smiles, brushing her long, tawny hair back. I need to remind myself to thank you when I see you. She realizes something else. Her smile fades and turns her attention to the small recorder. She stands up to her feet and grabs it from the bed. Her eyes gazes upon it as her face turns more serious. I can't jump to conclusions just yet. I need to know what you, Kamijo, and that woman were talking about. A lot more than what they were talking about. A familiar voice gets her attention. She lifts her head and spots the man in black. Well, nice to see that the healing syringe is working. What? You're not happy to see me? What the hell do you want? Well, first of all, get your clothes on. I need to talk to you about something important. So hurry up. The man turns around, staring at the doorway. Kuroko makes a face of content. Her eyes shifts to her winter uniform sitting on a chair in front of her. Guess it's time for me to check myself out. Also, can you please step outside? Don't try running away, because I will know. 7:07 p.m. Shirai buttons up her white undershirt. She zips up her checkered blue skirt. She wraps 2 straps filled with thin white needles around her thighs. She puts on her navy blue socks and her brown school shoes. She wraps the red ribbon under her white collar, then puts on the tan button blazer. Are you fully dressed? Yeah. As she grabs a pair of red ribbons, the man walks back into the room. She looks to him and she holds her long hair. So, you know what Kamajo was talking about, huh? More than that. In fact, there's a reason why I came here anyway. Which is? You need to leave the city. Kuroko's right eyebrow lifts. That sounded like a threat. No, I'm telling you to get out for your safety. Shirai finishes putting her hair into pigtails and stands up from the bed. She walks over to the chair and grabs a tan trench coat and scarf. As she puts on the former, she looks back at the man. Look, I get it. I know that you're worried about my safety. And sure, Godzilla's probably on his way here, but this isn't about Godzilla anymore. She stops from wrapping her scarf around her neck and stares at the man confused. What? Listen, I know what's going on outside of Academy City and Japan. Right now, you and the city are in danger. From confusion to uncertainty. And how do you know that? Let's just say that there is a lot more than what your new friend Kamajo knows about. You should be asking that yourself. Hell, you can understand and speak English now, can you? No, I can't understand and speak English now? Shirai suddenly speaking fluent English catches her off guard. What the hell? She remembers what McIntyre told her on that night. Only minor side effects that are very beneficial. Now I get what he was saying. What else is a benefit for me? Listen, if you really want to know what's going on right now, do it when you get out of the city. Because remember when I said make sure that you pay attention to the skies above? Well, I hate to say it, but it's starting to become reality. What are you saying? Tetsuo steps closer to the girl. The Second Civil War in Ireland didn't just end. It was only the beginning. In fact, it's following him. Staring into the man's eyes, he is dead serious in what he is saying. Something so heavy being said concerns Shirai even more. Her eyes darts away and lowers her head, looking at the recorder. She walks away from him and grabs the recorder. Many thoughts runs through her head as she gazes upon it. She comes to a decision. She puts it in her pocket and wraps the red scarf around her neck. I think some of my friends need to hear about this. They should know as well as I do. Yoshikawa shifts his eyes to the TV, sees Godzilla and Misaka brawling in Shinagawa, then pays attention back to Shirai, who is walking towards the window. Well, hurry up. You only have 15 minutes. What about you? I'll be long gone. She opens the window. A cold breeze brushes into the room. She holds on to the side, but stops herself. Are you expecting me to give you an answer of whether or not I should work for you? Yes. She turns her head to the right, looking over her shoulder. You'll get your answer when this is over. Don't take too long, because who knows when it'll end. Shirai does not respond. She looks back up ahead. Underneath her are the parked buses and ambulances. She stands on the ledge, then jumps. She free falls, getting closer to the ground. Then she teleports away. She appears 205 yards away from the hospital and 200 meters in the air. She stares down at the brightly lit streets below. She spots Anti-Skill trying to guide civilians to the shelters, but they are all too busy watching the massive screens of Misaka fighting Godzilla. I don't blame you. Her mind drifts back to what Yoshikawa was talking about. A war following Kamajo? Something worse than Godzilla? Damn it! I need to hurry! She consistently disappears and reappears at a rapid rate. 7:14 p.m. Shirai runs down the hallway of Judgment's 177 branch office. She approaches the door and opens it. Her opening the door flings paper into the air. The door itself slams onto a stack, nearly knocking it over. Looking inside, she spots Uiharu, Saten, and Konori, of whom looks at the door and are stunned to see Shirai walking inside.
What the? Shirai? And you're walking? You should be in the hospital. How are you walking on your left leg?
Shirai does not say a word and closes the door. She turns her attention to the girls and Sphinx being held by Konori. She reveals her scar to them, and they are more stunned.
What? How is your...
Never mind that. I'll explain everything later, but right now, I need all of you to listen to this. She takes out her recorder and shows it to them. I have Kamencho's conversation recorded, and you need to hear this. Saten smirks and closes her eyes. Typical Kuroko. Paranoid as ever. Why am I not surprised? It's not about that. It's something more important. Kuroko speaking dead serious and urgent gets the girl's attention. Most of it is in English, but I'll translate it. Are you sure? I can speak it well since I lived in the US for 2 years. I appreciate that, but that won't be necessary. The girl's eyes widens as they did not expect Shirai to speak English so fluently. Right. Here we go. She hits the play button on the recorder. 7:20 p.m. The recording comes to an end. Shirai puts the small device in her pocket. She had translated what was being said from English to her native Japanese. She hesitantly paused at the very serious parts, but she translated them regardless. The entire room goes silent. Fear and dread takes over the girl's emotions. Saten and Uiharu are terrified. Konori steps back, bumping onto the edge of the white couch. Holy sh! Holy sh! Are you sure that you translated it right? Shirai's fearful eyes looks to her, and the teleporter nods without saying any words. Ruriko's hand shakes. Kazari places her hands on her head and looks straight at the floor. Magic? Sorcerers? The Celtics? It all makes sense now. The Civil War, both in Ireland and Russia? All of the uprisings around the world? Us being hunted by Xenoth? And this other kaiju, Baggin. Something that's far worse than Godzilla is... A dawning realization stops Kuroko mid-sentence. She turns to Kazari. Uiharu? The Celtics won the Civil War, right? Yeah, they did. And they seem hell-bent against the British. And where's Kamencho? I got a call from him hours ago. Him and that nun are safe in Tokyo. Though, I don't know about that, considering Godzilla's in Tokyo. But at least Misaka's trying her best. Also, this is the first time that you're more concerned about someone else other than Misaka. Shirai looks away, remembering what Kamenjo told her on the night of January 2nd. Common sense can do that. She thinks back to what Yoshikawa told her in the hospital room. In fact, it's following him. Shirai's eyes widens and stares back at Uiharu. Can you check something real quick? Why? Xenoth and the Celtics. Saten, Konori, and Uiharu comes to that realization. The 4 girls run to the computer on the other side of the room. The latter sits down and clicks on the global live feed showing Earth. I'm going to see what's going on in Europe right now. Last I heard, the Celtics are planning to invade the mainland or Britain. The live camera pans over to the British Isles. The middle schooler's eyes widens. Wait, there's nothing. No ship, no plane. Did they rethink their strategy? Check what's going on around Japan. The satellite pans back over to the Japanese island of Honshu. Wait, what's that? She points to an area in the Sea of Japan. 2 large ships sits outside of Japan's western shore 190 miles off. The 4 girls spots the Irish flags on the bow's decks. Are those? Aircraft carriers. The camera zooms out and pans back to Academy City. What the? It stops and follows something. The girls becomes horrified. 650 B-84 missile fortress bombers flies over the mountainous lands of Japan. Surrounding them are their naval fighter escorts, the A-48 Shearwaters that took off on the Irish supercarriers Dublin and Cork. Uiharu analyzes where the massive fleet of aircraft are heading towards. A path has been drawn from where they all came from. The bombers took off from an airfield in Lakselv in northern Norway 24 hours earlier. In those 24 hours, they flew in between the North Pole and northern Russia, down the Chukchi Sea, to the Bering Sea, to the Sea of Japan. They slowly turned east, and the satellite has determined their destination, Academy City. A massive figure comes into the camera frame. Then, the feed cuts. The feeling of horror takes over the girl's emotions. Uiharu's hand shakes. Saten's heart pounds intensely, and she places her hands on her chest. Konori backs away from the computer.
We need to tell the board about this.
Uiharu quickly turns to her friend.
We can't. We only have 4 minutes until they get here. So we're...
Kuroko steps back, then collapses to her knees. She places her hands on her head. Mai lightly shakes her head. She darts her eyes to the TV, seeing Godzilla drain electricity from Misaka's sand dreadnought. She turns her head away to a medic box on the wall. She runs to it, grabs it, and kneels down to Kuroko, handing it to her.
Listen, take the girls, head for Tokyo, and save Misaka. What? I can't just leave you behind. Trust me. I'll be fine. Just go. Go!
She nods, stands to her feet, grabs Saten and Uiharu's arm, and runs towards the door. It opens, and they run down the hallway towards the building's exit. The 3 exits enter the outside, and they teleport away. Close behind, Konori, with Sphinx in one arm and a bike helmet in the other, and wearing her red leather jacket, runs to the side. She approaches her Mitsuo Speed Demon motorcycle and quickly mounts on it. She places her helmet on the tank and looks at the cat.
Don't worry. You'll be with me until I find someone who'll take care of you.
She carefully puts him in her left jacket pocket. As the cat pops his head out, she puts on the helmet and then turns on the engine.
Hang on. We're going underground. Deep underground.
She revs the engine and the speed demon drives off, entering the highway seconds later. 7:25 p.m. Agnese, the Catholic nuns, and Krutsev are sitting near the road 110 yards from Tokyo Tower. They are still shook by the atomic breath hitting the tower minutes ago. Shirai, Saten, and Uiharu appearing in the middle of the street gets their attention. The latter two collapses to their knees on the cold concrete.
Holy crap! What are we supposed to do now?
The ear-ringing sound of Godzilla's victorious roar gets their attention. Shirai looks behind her as the sound fades away. She turns back to the girls.
Listen, stay here. I'll be right back.
Saten grabs her by her arms.
Are you nuts? You'll get killed!
It won't be the first time. Kuroko disappears and rapidly teleports away from them. Saten balls up her fist and slams them on the concrete. The nuns approaches them.
Hey, what are you doing here? You know it's not safe here.
Uiharu looks to Agnese.
Sister, we can't go back to Academy City. What? Why not?
Arriving in Uzaki Shinagawa, Shirai appears behind a destroyed skyscraper. She hears the low grumbles of Godzilla. She rushes to the corner and hugs the wall. She peeks her head, and there they are. Godzilla, standing tall and looking down at Mikoto Misaka, and Misaka herself looking up at the kaiju, clenching her injured right arm, and blood dripping down the left side of her face.
I'm glad she's still alive, but she's in a horrible state.
Iori Yuidai Brodefiamo.
What the
She moves her head away from the corner, stunned.
First the war's coming to us and now this? What the is going on?
She hears the sound of his atomic breath charging. She peeks from the corner and spots his flame-covered mouth opening and Misaka closing her eyes, preparing for it.
Damn it! I need to get her out of there, but I don't want to get spotted.
An explosion stops Godzilla from firing its atomic breath. He turns his head to the tanks firing at him.
Now's my chance!
She teleports, grabs Misaka, and gets away from the area and the kaiju. As she gets to safety, only one thought lingers in her mind.
What the hell are we supposed to do? What the hell are we supposed to do?
Passengers from abroad or from Japan enters the international airport through the terminal. Jonathan Zenoff, Colonel Reynolds, Sergeant Lally, and Private Murray, in civilian clothing as disguises, are among those exiting through. They gaze upon their surroundings to see if anyone will recognize them. So far, no one has. Well, color me surprised, as they would say. They have not gotten my identity yet.
Sir, I feel like we're being watched. I don't know about this.
It is wise to have that mindset, but do not let it control your emotions. Remember what I taught you. Yes, sir. The group spots a few empty seats. They sit down, but Johnny remains standing. I will be right back. I will get us visitor passes. He approaches a booth, and a lady greets him.
Hello, sir. Do you need a visitor's pass?
Well, yes, I do, ma'am. 4, please.
Okay. One moment.
She bends to the side to grab 4 cards and places them on the counter. And how long will you be staying?
3 days minimal.
And the purpose of your trip?
Visiting an old friend I haven't seen in years.
I know that feeling. Here you are. Enjoy your stay. She turns to another person, and he turns back around. He returns to his group. Upon approaching them, he spots Mikoto Misaka sitting in between Reynolds and Lily. As tiny bolts burst from her hair as she looks up, his eyebrow lifts. An Esper. A level 5 to be specific. He darts his eyes to Lily, gripping his broadsword and staring at him to give an order. He shakes his head lightly, and he lets go. Zanov walks past and sits in an open seat behind the girl as she answers her phone. That was very ill-minded of you to come to that conclusion. One wrong move and the operation will be a bust. I'm sorry, sir. Anyhow, here are your passes. He hands his crusaders their passes. So, do you really think that this Montgomery is here? Her low energy field, and countless stories I have heard, leads to here. No one knows of our presence here, so let us use this opportunity. And if her courier gets in the way, that is his decision to make. Only he can dictate this city's fate in the future. January 2nd, 2005. The Crusaders and Zanov scouts every district in Academy City from the morning until the evening. In that time, Lily and Murray have been taking photos at different key points and locations and disguising it as sightseeing. Zanov stands on the sidewalk of School District 15. His hand is under his chin and his head is down. I have looked everywhere, but no sign of Montgomery or her courier. The sound of the gargoyle's engine gets his attention. The cruiser motorcycle comes around the corner and speeds off, with the passenger joyfully screaming at the top of her lungs. In a split second, he spots the driver's face, the distinct face that Zanov recognizes from the photos taken by his spies. The man smirks. Reynolds, Lally, Murray, meet me at this specific location. I believe I have found her. Inside of a private bunker, Celtic Prime Minister Zanov and his Air Force Chief of Staff, General David Henry, are having a meeting. The massive map of Academy City is laying on a table. Photos of different locations, key points, storages, lab buildings, and schools are standing on top, with the areas on the map being circled. Everything seems to be in order. What is the estimated time until their arrival? With no delays, we're looking at sometime around 7:15 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And the fleet carriers? The Fleet Admiral Fletcher informed me that the Dublin and Cork are in position in the Sea of Japan, approximately 160 kilometers off the Japanese coast. Are the Crusaders still going? Yes. Are the transports following behind? The 84th, 27th, 77th, 120th, 32nd, 88th, and 109th Crusader Field Armies are inside of the T-04 Pelicans as we speak. Very good. And it seems that our little operation is working quite nicely. I can't believe that Operation Possum is working out for us. I told you it was easy to copy Operation Fortitude. Those dummy vehicles and armor are working beautifully, and our news networks are playing along with it. But before we do that, we have to take care of the one obstacle and factor that will be a threat to us. Operation Newton, the destruction and assault on Academy City. It is a real shame that the people there are innocent. But Kamajo made his decision, and it seems that he will witness what will come next. The 24th, 19th, and 88th Bomber Squadrons, with the escorting 97th and 55th Naval Fighter Squadrons from the Irish carriers Dublin and Cork, are flying at an altitude of 700 meters above ground level. Inside of the Lee B-84 bomber, 79, Jonathan Zanov sets up from his seat and walks down the corridor. He approaches a door and opens it, revealing the cockpit. He approaches the pilots Patrick O'Daly and Sean McMullen. What is the distance to Academy City? We should be there in about 8 minutes, sir. But I'm concerned about the lack of fuel. You know the protocol. Once you run out of fuel, ditch and destroy the bomber and bail. You will be transported back to the Celtic Republic. His eyes veers to Sean McMullen. You seem a bit nervous, McMullen. What troubles you? I just feel so bad that we're about to do this. I hope the many children can be able to escape. Strangely enough, I agree. Should we abort the mission? Unfortunately, no. This is the lesson that the Imagine Breaker is about to learn. Besides, I do not like having loose ends hanging over our heads, so it is best to take care of it. Lord Bagan is with us. so he and I have business to attend to. A bright light in the distance gets his attention. He spots the rising black billowing smoke rising up into the sky. His eyes gazes beyond it and sees the center of Tokyo Bay turning into a sea of fire. It seems that our assessment turned out to be true. Since they are busy, it gives us an extra layer of surprise. Let's hope that our intelligence is right about this. All throughout Academy City, the over 2.8 million inhabitants are still not heading for any shelter or underground facility. They are all too focused on the fight between Godzilla and Misaka in Shinagawa, the latter of which is running from the former's bloody rage. Outside of the Tokibadai dorm, the girls cannot believe what they are seeing. It's over. Mugino looks down from the screen with a bit of shame and sympathy. She doesn't have a chance against him anymore.
If only we were there to help her!
But what are we supposed to do against that? A question that the girls cannot answer. Inside of the windowless building, the board of directors and Chairman Accelerator witnesses the railgun as she gets ragdolled on the concrete road. Should we send the entire city into code orange? I guess it's a good time to do it. Send it in. In the command center underground, a massive blip comes up on the radar. What the hell? The commander walks up to the operator. What is it? I'm picking up a few blips coming in from the west, and there are more of them coming in. It's probably a few American aircraft. Did the Americans inform us that they were sending in a massive fleet of aircraft? A statement that gives concern to him. Outside of their hideout in School District 3, Item is having different feelings on what they are seeing. The dumb bitch got what's coming to her. Okay, that's a bit much. At least he's trying. I wouldn't call this trying, to be ultra honest with you. Taketsubo hears something. What's that? The sound of broken bones. No. It sounds like jet engines. 18 R-99 recon jets, the Hawks, flies over the city. The sound of them gets everyone's attention. That's ultra weird. Usually they're supposed to be higher than that. Colonel Christian McRoy looks to the side of his cockpit. Mr. Prime Minister, the air defenses are down, and most of their armor seems to be non-existent. Shocking news takes Zenov and his bomber pilots by surprise. Looks like the intelligence is right. Sir, when are your orders? Jonathan does not answer immediately. He turns around and walks towards the door. As he exits the cockpit, he stops, grabbing the handle. Operation Newton is a go. Engage with no mercy. For Lord Baggin. He closes the door and O'Dally grabs the radio. All bombers, Operation Newton is a go. Prepare to unleash the payloads. 7:30 p.m. The message of Godzilla potentially heading for Academy City reaches everyone in every district. The board members and Accelerator heads out of the windowless building to seek shelter ahead of time. They and the rest of the civilians stops in their tracks. The sound of propeller engines gets their attention. From School District 3 down to School District 10, every person hears the sound of Vulture's engines getting closer and closer. They all collectively look up into the sky. They spot the B-84s flying above their city at 800 meters. The first 335's undersides are shown by the city's bright lights. What the hell? Are those American? I don't think American bombers are that big. The students, teachers, scientists, workers, and others are confused as well as to why there are so many planes in the sky flying above them. Mugino and Aino continues to watch the largest fleet of aircraft fly over their heads. A faint boom gets their attention. Then comes another. They look down and see two mushroom clouds rising. A shockwave hits their bodies, followed by the sound of a great boom. 4,000-pound bombs dropped from the bomb bays of the B-84s drives deep into the concrete roads and buildings. A great, explosive chain reaction erupts one after the other. Instantly, the confusion turns into a horrifying realization. Oh, He grabs Taketsubo by the hand and the two runs for their lives. Kinohata falls behind, with Mugino shooting down some of the bombs from hitting them or touching the ground with her meltdown ability. In the other 22 districts, the realization dawns on everyone. Their city is under attack. As the civilians scrambles to get off of the streets, in School District 2, 35 judgment members, 100 anti-skill officers, and 18 ACDF senior officers are killed by 5 4,000-pound bombs. In School District 17, the bombs crashes and explodes in the cargo storages and the railway yards, killing up to 10,050. In School District 20, research buildings, facilities, and factories are hit, with 100,000, adult and child alike, dying as a result. the reserve fighters on the runways, and the hangars of the International Airport in School District 23 gets hit and explodes, with 24 pilots and 80,000 personnel getting killed. Every student in School District 7 scrambles to find shelter of any kind. In Tokibodai, the dormitory and the school itself gets hit in multiple areas. The girls, including Shokuho, Kongo, and their friends, despite being protected, gets knocked away by the blast of a 4,000-pound bomb. Their bodies smacks on the side of the walls. Around them, 65 girls are killed by another bomb that landed and exploded 50 yards from them. Accelerator shields the board of directors and those around him from every bomb and shockwave with his vector transformation. The others around him are not so lucky. Reserve Type 90 and Type 74 tanks explodes from the bomb's yield. The countless of civilians are caught in the crossfire and killed, disappearing into nothing but bloody mists. The 325 bombers flies away from the city. Every district in Academy City is severely damaged, and most of the buildings are destroyed. The sound of the engines fades away, but it begins to rise once more. The sound of more bombers comes in. The sight of the second wave comes into view over the hills. Their bomb bay doors opens. Their payloads, the 10-ton Grand Slam bombs, drops. One Grand Slam falls near item. Mugino fires a high-speed particle wave cannon at the bomb. It connects, but the bomb explodes before it could be evaporated into nothing. The massive yield sends the entire crew flying in multiple directions. Mugino smashes against a tower. Kinuhata, Takitsubo, and Hamazura tumbles into a makeshift tunnel. They quickly get to their feet and runs deeper underground. Another Grand Slam crashes through the ground and explodes 20 yards away. The shockwave knocks the three off of their feet. The ceiling collapses around them, and they huddle together for safety. Throughout every district, the Grand Slam spares none that they come across. Buildings and skyscrapers collapses, disintegrating into nothing. Main streets are blown open, creating massive craters. Highways shatters in millions upon millions of pieces. Vehicles are blown up beyond recognition. Businesses, schools, factories, workshops, malls, and research facilities are instantly destroyed into nothing. The civilians are caught in the crossfire. Within the blast radius, most are incinerated, obliterated, or buried alive. In School District 22, Konori, still driving her speed demon and Sphinx hanging on, makes it to a tunnel that leads into the underground levels. A Grand Slam crashes 50 yards from her position. It explodes. The shockwave travels through the tunnel, hitting the young girl. The roof above her collapses, but she continues on. Far from the carnage, she stops and looks back at the tunnel entrance. Sphinx pops his head back out. Looks like I won't be heading back there anytime soon. Her attention turns to the cat looking at her. Sorry, little guy. I can't keep bringing you along like this. Attack or no attack, I have a job to do. I just need to find someone who'll take care of you. Now hang on. She revs the engine and the speed demon drives off with the bombardment still underway. How it will end is beyond everyone's thinking as of this moment.